Mr. Stewart, this is a request from me. You don't know me, but I have listened to you for years, and I want you to do me a favor. I want you to come back with me to Myanmar, which used to be called Burma, during Christmas a year from now. And this is kind of a background of who I am. With the name Campbell, I'm Scottish, but this is my great parents that came from Scotland. But I'm 75 years of age. I'm still teaching college, 2 classes as an adjunct, and will until day I croak. I love teaching for a whole slew of reasons. But one of my, and this is the reason I want you to come back with me, and this is why I think you will do it. I mean, telling you that one of my favorite songs is doesn't make any sense, but one of them is Forever Young. And I've loved that song for years. And it was a cute song. It was about 2 young kids, teenagers, who loved each other, and then they went separate ways. That's what I thought, until I saw the official video of that song. It wasn't about 2 teenagers breaking up and going separate ways, and it was about an older person and a young kid. And watching that video has haunted me, because I understand the lyrics to the song, because I'm some old guy and I have a relationship with 3 young kids who live in Myanmar, who are my grandchildren. Exactly 10 years ago, I had 2 dances with death. One with a subdural hematoma where I cracked my head open, and they had to cut my head open, take the skull out, let the brain swell out, and then put the skull back in a month later and stitch it up again. That could have killed me. My family was told before the surgery that I had a 50-50 chance of making it through the surgery, and the surgeon said nothing about what I'd be like after the surgery. Also, that same year, I went to the University of Chicago, and they robotically took out my prostate, which had gotten outside of the prostate. And they told me that the cancer was going to come back. And I had to come back every 6 months for PSA. Did that for a couple of years, and all of a sudden the PSA spiked. Went back to University of Chicago for hormone therapy for 2 months, and then for another 2 months I continued the hormone therapy, and also had a daily radiation treatment. And that was 6 or 7 years ago, and my diagnosis is that I'm cancer-free of prostate cancer. So I'm perfectly healthy as a 75-year-old. But those 2 dances with death taught me something about life. And if you go to my webpage and click on articles, and on the right-hand side, scroll down until you reach Randy Posh's last lecture, and watch that last lecture. I've gone to school I've gone 4 years of college, 4 years of grad school, and 4 years of post-grad school. One of my years was at the University of Edinburgh at New College. So I've been and then I've taken other classes. I've been over a dozen years listening to lectures since high school. And I've taught for over 20 years. So you can imagine the total number of lectures I've ever either heard or have given. That hour and 17 minutes and 37 seconds, whatever that lecture was, woke me up to reality. It woke me up to my two dances being blessings, because they woke me up to living. Back in the 60s, I thought I was in my heyday during the Civil Rights Movement. That pales in comparison to what I am now. And one of the other things I do a lot is traveling. And I do it for my webpage, and I do it for my classes. I do it because I just love doing it. And I told you I went to the University of Edinburgh for 1 year and saw Europe the summer before and the summer after that. I've traveled all over Indochina. I've taught in China. I've been to Tibet twice. I've been to places in Africa, been to islands in the Pacific, India, Nepal, the Middle East. I mean, I've been to countries that don't exist anymore, like Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia, East Germany. But of all the places I've ever been, including my 2 trips to Scotland, the one single country that changed who I am was Myanmar, or what used to be called Burma. And while I went there twice, almost 5 years ago, and then during winter break, Christmas this last year, I went back. Went back both times, or went to Myanmar both times to try to interview Dao and Ceci Shi, and failed both times. On my first trip, I did interview Min Kun On, who was kind of the Bobby Kennedy that I saw him as Bobby Kennedy in the 88 generation. But when I was in Myanmar, I had a tour guide. These are private tour guides that will take you in a car and drive you wherever you're going to go. And this gal's name was Momo. And Momo was just the sweetest. I mean, she's old enough to be my daughter. And she was really a nice lady, and she had to pick up some papers that were sent or emailed to her. And so what she did was to say, in an apologetic way, it'll just take 5 or 10 minutes, and I promise you, we'll be in and out, and you don't have to worry about anything. And besides that, you can meet my daughter, who at that time was 9 years old, and her name is Titi. Walked into the living room, and I'm greeted by this little cute kid who says, "Hi, my name is Titi. Do you want to play some games?" And we sat down on the floor of their living room, and we played Scrabble for an hour. That changed my life. I left that house knowing that I had met my granddaughter. And during the week that I was in Inlay Lake, I met her 2 younger sisters in a daycare preschool. And the younger sisters were 2 and 48 at that time. And I met her husband. That family is a part of my family. and you understand why Forever Young means something to me. I got the message because it was the same message I got from that family. And for the last 5, 6 years, since I was there the first time, I've been sending them money to help them. And when I was there this last Christmas, one of the things I gave Titi, who's now at that time 14, I gave her my laptop because I can't stand laptops. I have a desktop computer and 2 large monitors. I wish I were larger, and I wish there was, larger monitors and 3 of them rather than 2. And the only thing I used my laptop for was to store the pictures that I'd taken and the videos that I'd taken in Myanmar. And I told Titi, this is your laptop. If I brought it home, I would put it on my bookshelf and not touch it again until I went overseas again. And so what I did was to download all of the pictures and videos that I'd taken into an external hard drive called My Passport, put that in my backpack, and went home to the States. TT now is a part of my webpage. She's doing videos. She started videos of places where tourists would like to go. She did one of Inlay Lake. And she's also cataloging and putting captions under about 1,000 pictures that I took that will be on my webpage over the next few weeks. I dearly love TT and her 2 younger sisters and her parents. But giving TT a laptop is problematic because their internet access is limited. And the only way that she can get connected to the internet is to have her father be with his iPhone near the computer and they can link up. But it's slow even at that. When I was over there, I couldn't link to the online classes that I was teaching at the school. There was winter break, but I would try to get information to the school, and I was never able to even connect with the site. I mean, I could connect to Moraine Valley Community College, but that's all I could do. I couldn't go around within that software and website. So there's a problem with internet access. But there's also another issue. I consider that family my family, but the 3 girls go to 2 different schools, one an elementary school for the 2 younger ones, and Titi, who goes to high school. Myanmar is a dirt poor country, and there are 1,250 students between those 2 schools. I'd be willing to bet you that probably only maybe 5 people out of those 5 kids out of those 1,250 students have access to a computer at home. And they certainly don't have it at school. I mean, some of them may have seen computers and laptops and may have used 1 or 2 of them in school, but that is the only means by which that country can come into the 21st century, is to get their students educated, and the only way they're going to get them educated is on the internet. And the kids that go to the schools my granddaughters go to are my extended family. And so what I'm trying to do now is to raise $500,000 for laptops for 1,250 students. You multiply 1,250 times $350 per laptop, you're talking about $400,000. And the other $100,000 is going to be spent on internet access to those two schools and maybe to the whole city of Tangier where the schools are located in Myanmar. And there are three people that I want to return with me to Myanmar. I have this fundraising drive. And those people who contribute, there are three requests. One is that they contribute something to the fund. The second is to communicate with 10 of their friends by email and sending in the link. And then also, and of equal importance, going back with me to Myanmar and see where their money's being spent. So what I want you to do, I want you to come with me to Myanmar and do a concert in Yangon, which is not officially, but that's where all the embassies are from other countries. And then I want you to come up to around Inlet Lake, a place called Tangier, where the schools are located, and do a concert there a year and a couple months from now during winter break. And I want you to meet my family, and especially TT and her younger sisters. You have no idea how many times a day I watch that video of you and that little red-headed boy, where you're singing to him about your love for that child. That is precisely the way I feel about those three children and their extended family, my extended family, with the students that attend my three grandchildren's two different schools. There are three people that, other than the people that are, whoever contributes, I want them to come back with me too, but there are only three people that I want to come with me just to be there. One was Dr. Marchand, or one is Dr. Marchand. He's my cardiologist. About 10 years ago, I had to go in and see him because I had blood pressure issues. I take a little white pill once a day, and I've never had any more high blood pressure issues. Dr. Marchand, I asked him when I came back from my first trip to Myanmar, why am I so wound up? And he looked at me and said, you have seen the light. And I have seen the light. And that's one of the top critical issues. The next one is we're a family. When I came back from this most recent trip, I had another exam by Dr. Marchand, and he knows all about my family. And he told me when I'm ready to go back to let him know. There's another person who you wouldn't know either, but his name is Jason Soboroff. He works for NBC and is a reporter, and he's a younger generation person, exactly like me. What drives him are the social movements, and I want him to come back with me, and hopefully to bring a crew and do videos for NBC Nightly News. And the other one is you. Because, as with Jason Soboroff, you and I think in many ways in a similar way, in a similar manner. I mean, I mean it. I listened, I watched that video and listened to that song every day, a dozen times a day, because it resonates in my gut. I've written articles about it. So what I want you to do is to look at my webpage, and especially We Are Family. And read, just click on the second, maybe you can read the one about Marshawn, but it's redundant. Go to the second one, We Are Family, and read the the introduction to that index page. And you'll understand what makes me tick. And what makes me tick also makes you tick. So I appreciate your time, and I hope to hear from you. And I'm very serious about having you do a concert in Yangon, but also up in Tangier. So appreciate your time and look forward to hearing from you. Take care.